Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
What is this? What the heck's going on around here? Did somebody say recruiting momentum? Is recruiting momentum actually a thing with OU right now in the 2026 class? I don't know. It's as close to momentum as they've gotten with the 2026 class, as OU's had not one but two commits this week. Ja'Cory Smith last night, four-star linebacker, out of the state of Arkansas, commits. It's now the sixth commit for OU in the 2026 class, and as you can probably already tell, we're kicking it back a little old school. The OG locked in today because Grayson Singleton is out calling a high school game today, so you got myself, Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, talking about recruiting momentum, Parker. This is the single best week that OU's probably had on the recruiting side of things in the entire 2025 calendar year.
And we have a legit battle on our hands for KREF Recruiter of the Month for the first time in a while, Tyler. Nate Dreiling gets his very first commit as an assistant here at Oklahoma. Just 2 days on the heels of Brandon Hall getting on the board in the 2026 cycle with Nico Jandro. So, yeah, been teasing it all week. There's a sense here that the Sooners may be getting ready to go on a little bit of a run here. And I truly don't believe that these are just going to be two commits in relative isolation. I think by the time official visits roll around, Oklahoma will have another commit or two on board, and it's setting up to be a huge June and July, much like we saw in calendar year 2022. The very first year we did this show together, Tyler, where the Sooners entered June with three commits. But then by the end of July, I don't think the program had gone more than a week, maybe a week and a half, without a commitment, and that was kind of highlighted right smack dab in the middle by, if memory serves me correctly, 7 commits in the span of 10 days in early July.
It was a lot.
So it's coming.
Yeah, and we knew it was going to happen at some point. You just went over 100 days without a commit, and you saw where your recruiting ranking was, and maybe you start to get a little bit nervous, but OU's up to number 36. Not that that's where you want to be, but it is a significant improvement from where you were a week ago. And you mentioned Nate Dreiling, man. Like, he is on the board as an OU assistant now. And look, man, like, you're the young one of the younger guys on the staff, the new guy on the staff, and you want to really get the ball rolling on recruiting at your position group. I just think that that's natural for someone that's so young, and for someone that this is clearly the best program that he's been at. Well, he gets on the board with a very good linebacker in Ja'Cory Smith that we'll talk about. But kind of the bigger picture right now is, well, Nate Dreiling's on the board, but kind of like you're just saying, it feels like this linebacker class is going to start to fill up in a hurry here over the course of the next few weeks. When you talk about a Ben Wenzel, when you talk about a Bo Jandro, one commit on the board, but yeah, soon, more to soon come, I'm sure.
And this is great to see, right, Tyler, because it shows that Oklahoma is being proactive at a position where they needed to be proactive. I mean, we talked about it all throughout the winter. 2026 is a cycle where it feels like Oklahoma needs to have a sizable and talented haul at the linebacker position specifically, because you look at the 2024 class, only one signee, and it was a good one, James Nesta, but only one. 2025, same thing, right? Only one signee, Marcus James. And there's a thought, hey, maybe he becomes more of a pass rusher than a true off-ball linebacker at Oklahoma anyway. And so over the last 2 cycles, Oklahoma has gone real light at linebacker. They're getting to the point now where, I mean, they head into the season. They head into the 2025 season. I'm not sure how widely this is recognized or acknowledged. They only have 7 scholarship linebackers going into this fall.
Yeah.
So it is very much time for Oklahoma to reload at this position, and they've been very proactive in laying the groundwork to do so.
Yeah, no, because it's felt like the past 2 classes, it's, well, yeah, I mean, OU only took Nesta here, or they only take this player here, but I mean, come on. They got Stutzman coming back. They've got Kip Lewis, who looks like a star. You had Lewis Carter at the time, Kobe McKenzie. It just felt like you were in a really good place number-wise for linebackers the past couple of years, but that's certainly not going to be the case moving forward here. And, yeah, you want to get someone for sure. You want to get multiple linebackers you feel can really kind of be that next core of really good backers at OU. We've got a happy Friday, everyone, on the YouTube chats. Happy Friday. And it's fun to talk about not one but two commits this week. So if you're watching on YouTube, what's up? Keep those comments coming. As well as the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439. Let's get into the commit that they got last night. Ja'Cory Smith out of Bryant, Arkansas. OU gets another commit out of the state of Arkansas. 6'1", 195 pounds, chose OU over Arkansas, Nebraska, and Texas A&M. What's to like about Ja'Cory Smith out of the state of Arkansas?
Well, if you turn on the tape, the first thing that stands out, and Grayson brought this up yesterday when we were more or less previewing. It wasn't clear at that time when the decision was coming down for Ja'Cory Smith, but we kind of got into the reality that Oklahoma was trending nicely, and it may not be long before they got him on board. But Grayson pointed out that Ja'Cory Smith is an excellent blitzer. And, man, that is 1,000% true. He blitzes like his hair is on fire. Man, incredibly quick to infiltrate backfields, bring down quarterbacks with some force and with some authority. And a guy that, I think when you consider some of the linebackers that Oklahoma has signed in recent years, maybe the closest comparison here, and it's unfortunate that this guy is no longer around because I think a lot of people figured he was going to be pretty dang good in an OU uniform had he gotten 4, even 5 years in Norman. But Lewis Carter is a guy that he signed with Oklahoma, when he committed to Oklahoma back in July of 2022, everybody remarked upon how fast of a linebacker he was and how aggressive of a linebacker he was. He wasn't very big. He was listed at 6 foot 190. At the time, that was more, and that is more safety size than it is linebacker size. So there was a knowledge that Lewis Carter was going to need to bulk up when he got to campus, but you saw the tools and you knew they were going to translate. It's easy to see some of those parallels in Ja'Cory Smith's game. Highly aggressive, highly instinctual, really good at getting sideline to sideline. Similarly, he is on the lighter end of the spectrum, 6'1", 195 pounds, so he will need to tack on muscle. But once he does, you could see him morphing into a Brian Asamoah type of contributor down the line for OU.
Well, if he has any season like Brian Asamoah's last season at Oklahoma, which is still very underrated, I think, because of what happened that year, then you're going to have a pretty good linebacker on your hands if that's the case, man. I like Brian Asamoah a lot. Well, look, OU is, they've done damage in the state of Arkansas historically. Well, I mean, Keith Jackson is a player that immediately comes to mind from the state of Arkansas. Maybe the greatest player from Arkansas OU's ever gotten. Mark Bradley is another one that comes to mind. But that is a state that, doesn't produce an incredible amount of blue-chip players on a year-in, year-out basis. But Arkansas produces some very good football players. It's just, the Hogs are – they're the team in the state. That's the team that everybody roots for. There's no other, school to the size of Arkansas in that state, no other pro teams in that state. Arkansas is kind of the main draw. And yes, their football program isn't exactly humming right now, but how about OU? Like, not just going to the state of Arkansas, getting a 4-star backer away from Arkansas, away from Texas A&M. This staff is doing a little damage in the state of Arkansas over the past couple of classes.
That they are, and they may not be done in the state because they're after Ja'Cory Smith's teammate, Matthew Nelson, up there at Bryant High School, 6'5", 215 pounds, really athletic kid. And they're also after Braxton Lindsey, another blue-chip linebacker from the Natural State who's about 6'3", 220, and has some amazing tape. Now, they're going to have to fend off BYU and Miami as well as Arkansas for Braxton Lindsey, but I kind of like where Oklahoma has positioned themselves so far in that recruitment. It really is becoming more of a question at this point, Tyler. Do you have room for all of these linebackers, assuming that there are quite a few more of them that want to jump on board? Because, for instance, I think Oklahoma, if you go back about a month, they made an offer to Mason Martin, 3-star linebacker out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I very much think Oklahoma could have closed shop on his recruitment in a hurry, and they chose not to. Like in the last couple of weeks, they've kind of backed out of the Mason Martin sweepstakes, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they'd known for some time they were getting close with Ja'Cory Smith. They'd known for some time that they were getting close with the Jandro brothers, and so the pieces were starting to fall into place, and now you got to be real scrupulous because Ben Wenzel is another guy that's coming back in town for the Champ U barbecue. Very, very talented. One of the most instinctual linebackers in the 2026 class. You got Adam Balogun Ali, an Oklahoma native who now lives in Florida that's coming to campus for an OV next month. Keenan Harris out of St. Louis, another blue chipper. You got Braxton Lindsey. And so if Oklahoma wants to take 4, even 5 linebackers in this class, Tyler, I don't think they're going to have much trouble doing so.
Well, and that's a good place to be, obviously. And it does not look like they're going to get 3 5-star linebackers in this class. I mean, that really doesn't happen for anyone. But really, the main point is this. And you give Danny Stutzman a whole lot of credit for kind of reigniting that, Oklahoma's good at linebacker every single year. We saw Kenneth Murray be a first-round draft pick when he was here. But it feels like now it's going to go from Danny Stutzman to Kip Lewis, maybe an all-SEC guy at the end of the year. Or Sammy Omasigo, Kendall Daniels playing that cheetah spot. Maybe Kobe McKenzie has a really good year. OU's in a position with what they have on the roster right now that just because Danny Stutzman walked out of the door, it doesn't mean all of a sudden that the linebacker position is going to go to total crap. Like, they've got guys behind Danny Stutzman. They've had guys behind Danny Stutzman who are ready to step up and play big-time football. So I think when it comes to recruiting, Dryling's your position coach. Seems like he's a very likable guy. Players really like his energy. Of course, Brent Venables and what he's done with the linebacker core. But now you're starting to see what this staff has done with that position group. And I don't know if it's going to be the best position group in this program for the next 5 to 10 years or however long Brent Venables is going to be here. But that's probably not going to be a position moving forward that I'm all that concerned about all that much here.
No, and why would you be? There's going to be depth. There's top-end talent right now on the roster, not only with guys that have done it, like Kip Lewis, but guys that are on the verge, you believe, of taking that next step, somebody like a Samuel Masigo or like a James Nesta. You have a ton of expertise on staff, not just Venables, linebacker whisperer that he is, but Dryling, who's brought a ton of energy to the table. You get the expertise from Wes Goodwin as well, the former Clemson defensive coordinator who's on staff to help coach the outside linebackers and cheetahs. If you are a linebacker right now, or you fit that mold of a cheetah, there's a lot to like about the fit at Oklahoma, provided they win this fall. That's kind of the contingency that overhangs all of this entire conversation regarding recruiting, Tyler. None of it much matters if you don't win this fall, but assuming you do, there's a ton to like about the way that Oklahoma is set up to develop and get the most out of linebackers over the next several years.
Do you know off the top of your head where Ja'Cory Smith is currently ranked in Rivals, or if he is ranked? Because 24/7 Sports Composite has him at number 359 nationally, which does not match up with the offers that he has. But can you remember offhand where he's at on Rivals?
Yes, so he is a non-top 250 4-star on Rivals. So he's the number 4 player in the state of Arkansas, number 26 amongst linebackers nationally.
Yeah. Well, the offers, of course, OU had an Arkansas offer, Nebraska offer, Alabama offer, Florida State, Michigan, Mizzou, Notre Dame, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas A&M. Offer list looks very good for Ja'Cory Smith. And do we think that he's a guy as we kind of move forward and get closer to signing day? Like, is he a guy from now until signing day that his rating is going to improve, or is it going to stay about the same? I know maybe that's hard to forecast with a summer coming up and a season coming up, but where do we think he eventually falls compared to where he is now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be candid. Anybody who watches the tape knows Ja'Cory Smith is a really dang good football player, and he's going to have the chance, in all likelihood, to contribute from the jump at Oklahoma. Now, it's a tougher thing to do for linebackers given the complexity of the position in Venables' defense, but, it's not hard to see he's a really good football player who's going to have the chance to make a big impact at OU. As far as rankings go, I think he's probably close to tapped out because – he is one of those more undersized guys at the linebacker position. He's already attained 4-star status, and he plays his high school ball in Arkansas, right? So I don't know that there are going to be that many eyes on him this fall such that he has the margin to be able, and he has the attention to be able to improve upon that 4-star ranking. I could see him sneaking into the back end of the Rivals 250 after the first 4 games of his senior year once that tape comes out. But I don't think he's a guy that's going to shoot up nationally in the top 150 or top 100. Doesn't make me feel any better or worse about him as a player, but I think he's probably close to where his ceiling is in the rankings department.
4-star K-Dub in the 918. Nate Dreiling is a Hall of Fame Sooner for me. He hasn't coached a game yet and has already landed more recruits than Zach Alley. Laughing face emoji. No love lost for Zach Alley. Well, there you go. People have not forgotten.
He was on staff 11 months, 0 commits. Nate Dreiling has been on staff 3 months, 1 commit, and that number will grow very soon.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, 405-651-3439. Keep it coming on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. It's the OG locked in today. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton is out calling some high school games today. Parker is actually on the road. He's not in studio with me. He's in the DFW Metroplex. Why? Because maybe the biggest storyline of OU in the 2026 class is at quarterback. We'll tell you exactly why Parker's down there, what he's looking for, and a whole lot more coming up next right here on The Ref.
Dusty Dvorak here. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Oklahoma DRS helps job seekers with disabilities become taxpayers.
Their whole thing is to help people with disabilities go back to work.
They knew that I would be successful if I did not give up.
They have given me the power and confidence to face any challenge.
I'm just glad that, DRS was there. Empower yourself. Talk to DRS Vocational Rehabilitation.
Or services for the blind today.
OKDRS.gov. 800-487-4042.
Beats and Bites Festival is back again at Riverwind Casino, where good grooves and great food are on tap all summer long. Kicking off on June 14th with Josh Turner.
Would you go with me?
And Edwin McCain. Along with crave-worthy eats from local food trucks, there's something for everyone. Get your tickets online or at the box office for just $10. Only at Riverwind Casino.
Why don't we just dance?
At Meals on Wheels of Norman, we deliver more than just meals. We deliver connection, compassion, and care to homebound seniors right here in our community. But we need your help. Volunteer drivers are the heart of what we do, and just a little of your time can make a big impact. Join our team, make a difference. Visit MealsOnWheelsNorman.com or contact us at 405-321-7272 to sign up as a volunteer and start serving smiles today.
Here at The Ref, we know football, and we talk football every single day. But it wouldn't be possible without the great people at Wade Electric. Because while we know football, we trust Wade Electric for all of our electrical needs. Anytime we need electrical work done at our station, we call Wade Electric. They've been out to install new exterior lighting, convert interior lighting to LED, update devices, and install new power where needed. Call them today at 405-329-1940. Wade Electric, the electrical experts.
Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of taking your money. Hi, this is Will Gosney with Yala Gosney Attorneys at Law. Have you ever had an insurance claim and thought, wow, I really am in good hands, or these folks truly are treating me like a neighbor? Well, that's where we can help. We'll deal with the stress. We'll get you back to your normal life. So save our number in your phone, and if you're ever hurt in a wreck, call or text us at 405-800-8080. It's 405-800-8080.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland and Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Your child is sick. With those 4 words, the innocence and joy of childhood disappears. But Starlight has taught us 4 other words that make all the difference. The power of play. Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
Locked in with McComas and Thune today, right here on the Ref for the home of Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, your text, 405-651-3439. One-star Chunky Chuck says, now we just need the old intro with the old music. Classic locked in on a Friday is exactly what I need. I feel like you tried that last time and it had the wrong sponsor involved and we got in a bigger trouble.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was disastrous. I didn't even remember there was a time before the text line was sponsored by Knippelmeyer Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Nor did I recall that there was a time that the phone line was sponsored by anyone other than Riverwind Casino. But apparently there was an open in there that I managed to dig up that predated both of those things.
Well, that's obviously a compliment to both of those sponsors, right? Riverwind Casino, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet. It's like they're so ingrained in the shows now. We don't even remember life before that they sponsored the text line and the phone lines. But no, that was funny the last time we did the show together. All right, you're on the road, Salina, Texas, because Bo Bentley throwing the football around a little bit this afternoon. Why are you going down to see Bo Bentley? What's the big reason? What are you looking to see? Just kind of lay everything out for us.
Yeah, well, really just I obviously want to see him throw, as you do with any quarterback anytime you go and visit him, right? But also just eager to hear where Bentley is at in the process. Look, I think we know at this point that Georgia has been eliminated from contention. I've got that on good authority, and I'm sure he will directly confirm it later today, that with Georgia landing 5-star quarterback Jared Curtis a couple weeks ago, they no longer have need of a quarterback in the 2026 cycle, and they are no longer in pursuit of Bo Bentley. So you expect that it comes down to 2 schools during OV season, those being OU and LSU. And we've seen some OU-LSU battles in the past. Some have gone the Sooners' way. Some have gone the Tigers' way. Many will recall the Caden Durham recruitment a couple summers ago.
Yeah, he's turned out to be a good
for
player,
instance. He was a double OU legacy. Parents were both athletes at Oklahoma, wound up choosing LSU over the Sooners, and things have panned out for him thus far there. But this is a battle Oklahoma would love to win. Obviously, Ben Arbuckle has made Bo Bentley a priority, really from the very early stages. Once he arrived on campus, got the chance to sit down, start watching film on some of the 2026 quarterbacks from across the region. Oklahoma would love to have Bentley. They're getting him on campus for an OV June 13th through the 15th. LSU gets the final shot at him June 20th through the 22nd. So it's the age-old question of whether you would have the first official visit or the last. And in this case, there are no official visits in between. There is merely the first and there is the last. 2 official visits, 1 week apart. Oklahoma has positioned themselves to get the first shot at Bentley. And we'll see whether that strategy pays dividends, because this is a guy that Oklahoma would very much love to welcome to the fold and make a centerpiece in the 26 cycle.
Speaking of OU-LSU battles of the past, tell me if you remember this name or not. LSU won out for this one. I believe he later played for the New York Giants. He was the number 1, number 2 wide receiver out of high school. Reuben Randall chose LSU over Oklahoma back in like 2009.
Reuben Randall. That's a blast from the past, man.
That one would have been
had
nice.
Some moments in the league.
Yeah, he did, and he went to he chose 2 completely different offenses at that time with what LSU was doing offensively. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, essentially, and then what Oklahoma was doing offensively. Yeah, would have been nice to win that one, but it would be very nice to win the recruitment of Bo Bentley. And like you laid out the 2 official visits. OU gets the first OV, LSU gets the second OV. I would prefer to have the second OV, and I'm going to guess that the staff probably would as well. But that doesn't have to mean right now that LSU is definitely the leader in this recruitment, or even that a lot of people think that LSU is ultimately going to win out. I think it could go one way or the other, but what is the thought right now in mid-May? Is it that it's dead even? Nobody has an advantage? OU's got a slight lead? LSU's got a slight lead? Like, what's kind of the overall thought on where Bo Bentley is at with those 2 schools?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, OU people lean OU, LSU people lean LSU. That's the type of recruitment that this is. There's some confidence on both sides, and I've been down this road enough, Tyler, to know that when you have 2 schools that are very clearly head and shoulders above the rest, as in this case, and both sides are confident, neither side should be confident. And so, look, I'm perfectly comfortable saying, like, I would love to have a hot take here. I really don't. I don't think Bo Bentley has made up his mind yet. I don't think Bo Bentley is even leaning heavily in one particular direction based on some of the intel I've collected, which admittedly is probably going to favor OU a little bit more by nature. I would say there's a slight lean to Oklahoma, but this to me is definitively a battle that's going to be won and or lost during OVs. And until then, we're all just going to have to sit and wait and bide our time.
Yep. That's kind of how it feels. It's like it's going to go, and we'll see what Jaden O'Neal kind of does throughout the process of all this. But it's already been interesting, and it's certainly going to get interesting over the course of the next month and a half for sure. Eric in Dallas says, I honestly hope OU loses this battle with LSU. I really think Jaden O'Neal is a better player. And for those who are really tuned into recruiting, like OU fans that are like really keep up with everything, not even necessarily watch the highlights, but really know what's going on, I would guess and I would feel like the majority of OU fans that are really locked into recruiting probably prefer Bo Bentley over Jaden O'Neal. So I guess I was surprised to read that from Eric. I mean, he may be right, but I feel like what I've seen on the text line, most would prefer Bo Bentley.
Yeah, and look, it's different strokes for different folks, right? Jaden O'Neal is more of your traditional old-school quarterback prospect, stand in the pocket, dice them up. There's not a ton of mobility there. Bo Bentley is more of your modern quarterback prospect. He's going to get outside the pocket. He's going to create off script. He's very good at throwing on the run, and he can hurt you with his legs. So it's a matter of preference. There's not necessarily a right answer right now. And whatever the right answer is, ultimately, as far as how these guys develop and what kind of players they become at the collegiate level, we obviously won't know the answer for another 3-4 years at the least. So, yeah, I would say if you polled Oklahoma fans, the majority probably favor Bo Bentley, but there's a concession to be made there that Jaden O'Neal is also a really good prospect, and it doesn't feel like there's a clear wrong answer between the two.
Mark in Newcastle says, how is our tight end recruiting going? Well, I think it was your second commit in this 26 class all the way back of June of 2024. It's been, like 11 months that he's been committed to Oklahoma. Ryder Mix, 3-star tight end out of Lone Star Frisco, 6'4", 220 pounds. But it does lead to an interesting question, is we know what happened last year with tight end recruiting. Ryder Mix is a good player, a player they felt comfortable enough to take in June of last year. Would they try and add a second tight end in this class, or are they good with just keeping Ryder Mix on board and moving forward with just that?
What if I told you there's a tight end on campus right now, Tyler?
Yeah, Jaron Kanik. Yeah. Is he on campus right now? No, you're talking about someone in the 2026 class who's on campus
and,
right now.
To be clear, Oklahoma right now is making a push for 2 different uncommitted tight end prospects in the 26 class to pair with Ryder Mix. Jack Severs, they just recently offered. He's from Everett, Washington. He's going to book an official visit with Oklahoma, so get familiar with that name, Jack Severs. I'm told an OV to OU is going to happen. Now, the other guy, and the guy that is on campus currently, is Tyler Ruxer out of the state of Indiana. Oklahoma offered, 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. He's going to OV as well, but wanted to check things out unofficially first. He is in town as we speak, taking the visit, seeing the sights. We will see where that leads. Don't really have a strong feel yet as to whether – because, this happens from time to time where you get a guy like Cade McIntyre where even though they're from out of state, even before they ever show up to Oklahoma, they're just enamored with the brand, and you start to get the feeling that they're going to commit. The visit is just kind of a formality. Haven't gotten that sense with either Severs or Ruxer, and there are other schools involved with each of the two respectively. But they're going into OV season with the intention and with a strong, strong chance to add a second tight end to the fold.
One-star Chonky Chuck, I trust Ben Arbuckle with whoever he lands. Ward and Mateer are fairly different players. Well, it's one of the reasons why you hired him, to evaluate and make the best decision at quarterback moving forward, whether it be portal or high school ranks. So, yeah. Chonky Chuck, I'll trust him as well on this deal. Les and Hayes, Kansas, I like them both. I like Bo a little better. I think Bo fits Arbuckle's system better. 4-star Evan from Blanchard says, I'm worried about this recruitment for one ridiculous reason, and it's because of Bo. B-E-A-U-X, and then it's signed Damn Cajuns at the bottom of it. Yeah, we saw what they did with Burrow. I'm sure Bo will have a jersey in a locker somewhere when he gets there. B-E-A-U-X. They've had good quarterback play recently. You can't deny that. Not that erases everything that Oklahoma's done quarterback-wise and the OC that they have and the productive offense I think he's going to have. But LSU, that was a place for a long time, man, that struggled to get really good quarterback play, especially during the Les Miles era. It felt like they were winning despite quarterback play, and they've turned that around pretty significantly. I guess Joe Burrow really kind of started that for them.
Oh, man, Joe Burrow was the one that kick-started it, and obviously they had another Heisman Trophy winner just a year and a half ago in Jaden Daniels, and now there's a lot of love for Garrett Nussmeier and what he brings to the table as a rising senior for LSU in 2025 as their projected starting quarterback. So, yeah, LSU, I mean, let's call a spade here. They've got a pretty compelling pitch to a quarterback prospect, and that's why they're right there in the mix. Now, I think if Jaden O'Neal were not committed to Oklahoma, Bo Bentley, the thing that was talked about a lot at the beginning, hasn't been talked about a whole lot lately, he's a lifelong OU fan, right? He and his folks, they're OU people. If LSU didn't have such a compelling pitch, and if Jaden O'Neal were not in the picture and already committed to Oklahoma, I think Bo Bentley would already be in the Sooners class. But obviously, both of those factors are in play, and so there's a decision to make here, a business decision from his standpoint.
1-star Cole and Claremore, who's the next pair of brothers to attend OU? Clearly the staff, Cole, I'm changing this when you put me in a tough spot here, really likes for brothers coming to OU together, i.e. the Jan Bros, Hawkins Bros, Bowen brothers. Who's the next set of brothers to come to OU? I think it would be the Jandro brothers. The Jandro twins is what I would guess. You guessing anything different?
It's the Jandros. I mean, it's not rocket science. I don't think anybody expects an outcome different from Bo Jandro, that is, following in his brother Nico's footsteps to the University of Oklahoma. Because how often do twins split up in general?
I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it's very often. Heck, you could have two brothers that are 2 years apart, and it still feels like more times than not they're going to play in the same spot. I mean, twins, that's a totally It's a different situation. I would expect him to be in the class.
Fully expect that. And I think there's a decent chance he's your next commit. I don't know that for a fact, but I think there's a decent chance he is on the board for Oklahoma pretty expeditiously here.
Yeah, and Bo Jandro, good player for sure. Of course, his twin brother just committed earlier this week, 6'1", 210 pounds out of Chandler, Arizona. He's, of course, got the Oklahoma offer, but he's got a Texas offer. He's got a USC offer. He's got an Oregon offer. He's got a Tennessee offer. Bo Jandro, rated a 3-star, and we know that some people turn their nose up at the 3-star. But if you just look at the offers, this guy could, potentially end up in 4-star status by the time that this recruiting cycle's over. He's a very nice player.
Yeah, Bo Jandro is a hitter. Him and his brother both, man. Like there's a reason, and credit to the Oklahoma staff for being early to the table with those two. But there's a reason that so many other programs at the P4 level across the country, and high-end programs at that, the likes of Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, and others, have come sniffing around Hamilton High School in Chandler, Arizona, for Bo in particular.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. When we get back, I've got an over-under on 5 stars that OU will get in this class. And let's also take a look at OU's recruiting ranking, which you shouldn't put a whole lot of stock in right now. But if you've been one that's concerned with how far down in the rankings that they've been, well, are they the only school in the SEC that's maybe off to a slower start? We'll look across the SEC and see what's going on in recruiting in the 2026 class as well. Keep it locked on the Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.
Get ready for a big weekend of college football. Coach Stoops here. Join me Thursday afternoons at 4:45 on The Rush with Tyler and Teddy. We'll preview the weekend slate of games and give lots of predictions. Listen live on the radio and anywhere in the world on the KREF app.
Springtime in Oklahoma means a near constant threat of severe weather and prolonged time without electricity. Before the storm hits, we encourage OEC members to download the My OEC mobile app and turn on outage text notifications, so you can be confident that when your power goes out, so do we. Visit okcoop.org/outage center for storm prep tips, a real-time outage map, live updates, and more. At OEC, safe and reliable power is our mission.
That twinge in your knee isn't going to wait until Monday, and neither do we. At Orthostat, we've expanded, so you get better hours, better facilities, and the same great care. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Whether it's sprains, strains, fractures, or joint pain, from knuckles to knees and every joint in between, our same-day, affordable care gets you back to life faster. Visit OuchOrthostat.com to learn more.
Are you looking to elevate your golf game in 2025? Westwood Golf Course in Norman can help. Now's the time to get your annual memberships, and they're open 7 days a week. The 50th annual Westwood Invitational is July 4th, 5th, and 6th, so be sure to register early this year. Play after 2 p.m. for just $28 or after 5 p.m. for just $23. You can always book your tee time at westwoodparkgolf.com, and don't forget to visit the Turn Grill inside Westwood, one of the local gyms in Norman.
Experience the confidence you deserve at Confidence Ford of Norman, where we're dedicated to providing our customers with exceptional service. That means unbeatable offers on 2024 Ford models right now. Save an incredible $10,000 on a Ford Bronco or F-150 XLT, and save even bigger on an Expedition XLT with $18,000 in savings. Drive the Ford you've always wanted from a team that puts you first. Visit us today at 825 North Interstate Drive, Confidence Ford of Norman, part of the Cavender Auto family, where confidence is Cavender.
Schumacher Law Group, when experience matters. Tracy Schumacher is a former prosecutor and former district judge. Whether it's a probate challenge, criminal charges, or contentious divorce proceedings, experience matters. The attorneys at Schumacher Law Group provide compassionate, knowledgeable advice, all while fighting for your best interests. Find Schumacher Law Group online at lawgroupok.com or call 405-701-1882. Hometown lawyers ready to fight for you when experience matters.
Hi, I'm Tanner Mordecai with the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm here to share my experience with the team at Mitchell's Jewelry. They came highly recommended, and my experience could not have been any better. I worked directly with the owner, Newt Mitchell, and he helped me design the perfect ring for my future bride. I was confident I picked the right one with the help from the great people at Mitchell's. Anytime my friends ask for suggestions, I know where to send them, and I'm telling you the same. If you want a great experience and the perfect ring, you can trust the team at Mitchell's Jewelry. Shop with them in Norman or check out their website or socials.
It doesn't seem possible, but we're celebrating our 50th anniversary at Markham's Nursery this spring. Back in 1975, our family started our business down on the farm in Washington, Oklahoma. A lot of things have changed since then, but the honest and appreciative way Bill Industries serve their customers hasn't changed a bit. Seasoned gardener or just getting started, we can help make your landscape or garden a success. Come celebrate our 50th with the folks who know how to grow in Oklahoma, Markham's Nursery.
Markham's Nursery, just add the sun.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe. Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the ref for the Homeless Sooner fans. Grayson Singleton out today, caught a little high school action on krefsports.tv. This hour is brought to you by Dorsey Jones in El Reno. Family owned and operated, established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. Half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Go check them out in El Reno. Dorsey Jones, a fine institution there in El Reno, Oklahoma. All right, what's going on in the YouTube chat here? By the way, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, KREF Sports, go do that, please, on YouTube. This show is streamed live every single day, Monday through Friday. Jimmy Cat says, I feel like Bentley is a better player, but I like O'Neal's makeup and temperament better. Seems more like a natural leader. KJ Goaded says a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, and we only have one in the bush, so what are we doing? So some still very confused as to what OU's doing right now in the quarterback situation. 26.
Well, look, okay, and I brought this up yesterday, and there's a very different perspective on all of this, and that is this. Jaden O'Neal has not decommitted from Oklahoma yet. He has not given any indication that he is close to decommitting. Like, if you look at his social media feed, he's still all OU. Like, the vibe that you get from Jaden O'Neal is he's a Sooner until Oklahoma gives him a very clear reason to walk away. And to me, that equals they take a commitment from another quarterback, i.e. Bo Bentley.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the way I look at it. If Oklahoma knows Jaden O'Neal is at the very least in the class until you bring somebody else in, why wouldn't you go recruit another guy? Why wouldn't you let Ben Arbuckle make his eval, let him push for the guy that he wants in this cycle, which evidently is Bo Bentley. Let him have his choice of the uncommitted guys out there, let him find one to push for, and that's what he's done with Bentley. As long as Jaden O'Neal isn't walking away, and he hasn't yet and hasn't given any indication that that's imminent, then why not explore all other options when it comes to recruiting quarterbacks?
So I am putting the over-under unofficial. We're not making it official just yet. The unofficial over-under for the amount of five-star signees for OU in the 2026 class. Now, I am considering what's happened up to this point. I am considering, obviously, the players that they're in on who could rise to five-star status that's not there right now. I'm even considering what a really good season for OU might look like and if they could potentially poach a five-star from someone else. All information gathered. 1, you tell me what you think about my over-under. 2, you tell me if you would go over-under this number. 0.5 is my over-under for 5 stars in 2026. What do you think?
I'm going to say over. I'm going to say they get 1 5-star, just like they did last cycle with Michael Vasusi. I don't know who that is. It could be Jake Krell. It could be Felix Ojo. It could be somebody rising to 5-star status like a Bo Bentley that's not in that tier right now, but that vaults there with a strong senior year. I think there's enough options right now with who Oklahoma has on the board that it does feel like somebody that's in 5-star range right now is going to jump at the opportunity to be a Sooner, or there's a solid chance that somebody who's not in 5-star range right now is going to commit to Oklahoma and then get there after the fact.
Well, that explanation would lead me to believe that you do like that over-under, 0.5 for 5 stars.
I do like it, yes.
Yeah.
I think it is the right over-under.
And that doesn't mean that this can't be a very good class with really good players and good evaluations. It just doesn't seem like it's going to have 3 5-stars in it. So does that mean OU won't be a top 5 class? I would probably bet against OU being a top 5 class right now. Does it mean OU can't be a top 10 class? We'll see how many players they take. We'll see if they're able to get a guy like Jake Krell, if they can be top 10. But yeah, it doesn't seem like this is going to be a 3 5-star class. You're hoping that you get one, whether it's a quarterback, Jake Krell, somebody else, filled with a lot of other really high level 4 stars and some really good evaluations in this class. But yeah, I think that's a fair number. Les in Hays, Kansas says over. Les is joining you on the over right now. So that's good to hear. Very, very good to hear that Les is also joining you on the over. We got 2 overs, and I guess Slim Brady said under. Slim Brady said under, and he didn't even hear the over-under. I guess Slim Brady thinks that it's going to be 0 5-stars in this class.
Automatic under, huh? No belief.
Michael in Marlowe says, will either one, and I think he's talking about Bentley and Jaden O'Neal, will either one actually make it on the field? If the Peyton Houston kid is the real deal, like you say, Parker, neither of these two are that important, IMO.
Man, look, here's where things stand with Oklahoma right now as it pertains to quarterback recruiting and like the future of the quarterback room under Ben Arbuckle. You have a guy that you feel like is next in Michael Hawkins. You have the guy for the moment right now in John Mateer, but then you have what you feel is the next answer in Michael Hawkins. You just added Whit Neubauer. Might he turn into something? Sure, that's not an experiment you have to rush, nor is that the case with Jet New, the 3-star signee out of Lehigh, Utah. And so, here's the way I see it. This 2026 cycle is where Oklahoma, it feels like they need to land. There's no such thing as a can't-miss quarterback prospect, but it feels like they need to land a high-end quarterback prospect in this cycle. And they've got one right now in Jaden O'Neal, and that's great. Again, though, there's a feeling amongst the fan base. I would say the majority of people feel that Bo Bentley is even an upgrade over a Jaden O'Neal. And so if you can do even a little bit better in the 2026 cycle, then that's great, because then I think that sets you up well to be able to, let's just say Michael Hawkins, everything goes according to plan. He inherits the starting reins from John Mateer at the conclusion of the 2025 season, and he's your next dude. If you get anything long-term out of Whit Neubauer and Jet New, that's great. But if not, or at least you feel that you have another big-time stud coming behind in the 2026 class to take over.
Greg in Muskogee says, is Oklahoma still on the defensive tackle from Georgia Deuce? He is referencing Deuce Geralds for the state of Georgia, 4-star defensive lineman.
Yes, they're still in on Deuce Geralds. I don't think they're going to get him. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on it. I think they're in really, really good position with Brian Harris, the 4-star Jacksonville, Florida defensive tackle that commits a week from today. So next Friday, Oklahoma may be on the board yet again. I think they're in great shape with Taj Overton out of Owasso, Oklahoma. So you could potentially have 2 blue chippers right there that shouldn't be too far off from making decisions, and those decisions could very well go Oklahoma's way. And then if Oklahoma lands a 3rd defensive tackle, a guy that I'd keep an eye on in that regard is Valdon Sohn, the Swede, or potentially a guy like Tank Carrington out of Las Vegas, who's going to OV to Oklahoma June 6th through the 8th. I don't have Deuce Geralds in my quote-unquote mock class right now.
So we could get a Tank or a Swede?
Yes, a Tank or a Swede.
Or both.
I don't know. Or both, yeah. What do you think of the Swedes?
Let me think. When I think of, I don't think SEC ready, if I'm being quite honest. A choice between a Swede and a Tank.
You're going with the tank, huh?
Yeah, If things are still in the Big 12, I might go with the Swede. That might fit a little bit better. But the SEC, I feel like that's a tank league, more of a Swede league. I need to look at best players ever from Sweden.
Probably aren't many on that list.
I mean, let me do some quick research here before you get out of here. Oh, I said best football players ever from Sweden.
Oh,
and
my
I got
goodness. You got soccer players,
Ibrahimovic,
didn't you?
yeah, the soccer player. I'm like, okay, forget that then. I'm not interested in the list of Sweden international footballers, the 10 best of all time. Hey, I'll get you a few more texts before we hit the top of the hour. No big deal, but Rodney Anderson just walked in to the station. He's doing 3 hours with me today. Huh?
Whoa, that's cool.
You think he could play some running back, Rodney Anderson? He's pretty good. Got a lot of cool things going on with him right now, too.
I feel like Rodney could still get out there and give you 4.5 yards a carry if you needed it.
Maybe 5.5 yards per carry. That could be the case, man. Okay, so I had this down for today. I'm not trying to change anyone's opinions with these numbers. You all are grown adults for the most part. I'm just going to present you with the information, and you guys feel how you want to feel. And this number actually looks a lot better today than what it did last week. But for those of you that are concerned about the recruiting rankings right now, I wanted to read where OU's at and then look at every single team in the SEC. And again, maybe it doesn't make you feel any better. Maybe it does make you feel better. Here are the numbers. OU is currently number 36 in the 2026 rankings. That clearly will be better. I don't think any of us really believe OU is going to end up with the number 36 class on signing day. Here are where other teams in the SEC are currently at this point in the recruiting calendar. LSU has the highest ranked class. They're not even in the top 5. They're at number 6. A&M's at 7. Georgia's at 11. Arkansas at 18. Auburn at 19. Tennessee at 20. Ole Miss at 26. Mississippi State at 27. Texas is at 29. Alabama's at 35. OU's at 36. South Carolina at 48. Mizzou is at 75. Florida is back at 90. Kentucky back at 92. And I couldn't even find Vanderbilt. Who knows where they're at? So not that you were overly, because we've talked about it, not that you were overly concerned about OU's class ranking in mid-May, because things will definitely heat up in the summer. But now that I've read those off, does that not even necessarily change your opinion, but what thought immediately comes to mind when you see where other SEC classes are ranked and that there's not one even in the top 5 right now?
I think what's especially conspicuous there amongst all of the things that you mentioned in that spiel is the fact that no SEC teams are in the top 5 right now.
Yep.
I
bet that's not the case on signing day.
That tells you – correct. That tells you the entire SEC has kind of adopted the Alabama model. Like you go back 5 years or 10 years to the Saban-era Alabama teams, you could never find them in the top 10 or even in like the top 20 in May or June. But by September, boy, they were moving quickly towards having the number 1 class in the nation, and they had 5 stars and high 4-star commitments rolling in hand over fist. And so that tells me that the SEC has paid attention to what Nick Saban and Alabama did and understood that peaking too early and pressuring guys for commitments too early probably isn't the wisest strategy. At some point, I would think, Tyler, Lincoln Riley will learn that lesson.
I was about to say, this feels like a shot at Lincoln Riley is what this
but
sounds like to me.
I don't know when he will learn that lesson. It hasn't gotten through his head yet.
Les in Hayes, Kansas says this, since we're talking about the Swede commit. The Swede has a real good chance to really climb in the rankings. That a dad joke there from Les? You get it? Really climb in the rankings this year? Very nice, Les. Thank you for that. These are the types of things that we get on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line on a day-to-day basis. Rodney's going to get quite an introduction to it for the next 3 hours. 405-651-3439. And if you guys got a question for Rodney, send those into the text line. I got a lot of questions for him. We'll talk some OU football. We'll definitely talk some OU softball, some OU baseball as well. Going to be fun, really, really fun coming up for the next 3 hours. All right, well, obviously, stay safe in the DFW area, but really stay safe because you're going out to Shreveport, right? Be careful out there.
Yes, trust me. I will have the head on a swivel in Shreveport.
I stayed the night in Shreveport on the way to Baton Rouge this last year. It was something on a Thanksgiving night, Thursday night in Shreveport, Louisiana. So be careful down there, man. Be careful out there. All right, look forward to.
I will be, sir.
Yeah, look forward to hearing what you have to say coming up on Monday about Bo Bentley, what you heard, and certainly out in Shreveport as well. That'll do it for Locked In. The Rush coming up next. Keep it locked on the Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.